Shalom, shalom. Going to give all honor and praises. YAHAWAH, check out Shai, shalom, HALAL. The boss of the elders that give me the whole party. There, the that we want there and shalom. Pretty much this spirit hit me a little bit of this spirit. You know, God is the law. I still have my candles for it. Spirit is going to be dead. Shalom, shalom, the form. YAHAWASHI, outside. SHAM, QADASH. So, so the pastor is one of us. Everything we put in faith. We all have aspirations. Serve the Lord. People will be about it. Being here, because we all war, things like activity, Babylon, America. What we have to do, we have to constantly face. I always remember when Bob Marley had got shot after a concert. He got shot. Let's say he got shot on Monday. He had a concert like a Thursday or Friday. See this man still walking about, getting ready to get ready for the concert. Somebody asked him, said, "You just got shot. Why would you still, see why would you still go to the concert?" Bob Marley said, "Because evil does not take a day off to wash it out. Same day with us, we can't take a day off. All we have is faith. Everybody else, they have crypto, guns, underground bunkers. So if they're trusting in the money and they're trusting in the economy and they're trusting in the government, when you see it constantly fails you over and over again, that's kind of crazy, man. Insanity is when you keep doing the same thing over and over again. As you can see here in America, man, there is no end. So there is an end. But the end for us is not going to be great. Great. Okay? So getting back to it, I want to bring out Romans 3 and 3. So what if something not shall that unbelief make the faith of God without effect? God forbid, yea, let the most high be for every man is life, as it is written, that thou might be justified in thy saying, might be put in mouth, thou art judged. Like they say, peace, safety, and destruction. That's the mind of the people. They always thinking about peace being a positive outcome. But a lot of people don't even know, man, this is not correct. America is pretty much our holding cell. America's our prison before we get up out of it. You see the economy and what's happening right now. How is it that in one day, the same day that Trump decided to attack Iran, barrel of oil for like $75, $79. That very same day he attacked Iran, it shoots up to over $100. Now, everything is going up over here in America. Everything is going up all around the world. You have to look at the prophecies and things that are for you to understand the concept of the end, as the Lord said. Measure out the time diligently in itself. How do you measure the time? Measure the time of the prophecy. Right? Romans 3 and 5. But if our unrighteousness commend the righteousness of God, what shall we say? God unrighteous is ridiculous. The Lord is not unrighteous. The thing is that the minds of the people, they have an opinion, but the opinion always tends to outweigh the fact. But see, what's crazy is that what we have is called faith. That's something that you can't really show. Understand what I'm saying? Matter of fact, let me get something real quick. Because faith also has something to do with the spirit. John 3 and 3. YAHAWASHI answered and very, very unthinkable. Except that man be born again, cannot see the kingdom of God. A lot of people are born, but we already know. And the woman come together and have that section 9-month period, full land, have a baby. But the demon said to him, how can a man be born when he is old? If he entered the second time that he was going to move and be born? YAHAWASHI answered, verily, verily, I say, except that man be born with water and of the spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. What does it mean to be born by the spirit? Remember, John the Baptist said, I baptize you with water, but there's one that shall baptize you with fire and with the Holy Spirit. That's what it means to be born again. And it can explain what it means by that too. Verse 6. That which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the spirit is spirit. Marvel not that I say unto thee, you will be born again. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it cometh and whither it goeth. So is everyone that is born of the Spirit, and that is not a lie. If you can feel it in your bones, you can feel it in your body, and the Spirit hits you. Like when I first had my enlightenment, I literally felt it. Like when I was reading, I was on the and I read the passage where it said, Jewish slave, but it said, the slave market was full of black Jewish slaves. Tell them in my mind, like, what? Jews ain't black. And then after that, it was all over, you know. But you feel it in your bones, you feel it in your body. You know how they have someone they say, someone has found their soulmate. You can feel it in your body, like when souls are tethered. Someone's tethered to someone else. You know, that's what it's like. You can't explain it, but you can feel it. Like the wind, you can't explain where the hell it came from or where the heck it came from. But we can feel it. Same thing with the spirit. And the beautiful thing about the spirit is that it will reveal to you things that are tangible, but it all begins with something you cannot see. All we have is faith. Hebrews 11:1. All this may sound redundant, but it is what it is. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. What are we hoping for? A new heaven and a new earth, one dwell of righteousness. We can't see that right now. That's why we hope for it. And the scripture says you can hope for it. You can see something, why hope for it? Now you see if it says you get the hope back again. Why? You see it, you can get it. Right? Verse 2, for by it the elders obtained it before, and that's why the elders of great firstborn deserve double honor. Because by their faith they kept the faith. You know, going back to the early 90s, those men was out there with camcorders recording themselves. You can see old videos. You got to go to certain GMS channels that have some archives, the old videos, the elders recording themselves doing this work back in the 90s. You know it's like before, so you put the VHS tape and then it would say like 1991, August 2000, whatever, August 2nd, 1991. Yeah, you can literally see 1990, whatever. By faith, those men been doing this work, man, for the longest. Before he was born. These are popping up, these are coming to pass now. And it's nothing that we have done for it to happen other than check down Babylon. The Lord already had it in place, all we had it in the store. And the elders of great wisdom have cut that same message ever since. Before it was 2006, 2005, when YouTube started popping off. Imagine this, the elders of great wisdom from the elder Pasach still going out preaching, recording themselves on camcorders. Those men were constantly going out preaching. You know, Shalom for the one, so by those men constantly going out there preaching, people will walk by, laugh, scoff, mock, bicker, try to fight, all of that. They've been doing that for years and years and years, right? Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained the good report. People, everybody loves to read or quote 11, Hebrews 11:1, but read the second verse. By the elders' faith, they have a good report. You know, so that's why I give them all to the elders of great millstone. That's another reason why faith is still so strong. I always say that those men who preach the word before I was born, I've survived 37 women. That's the you gotta remember, when everything's fine and dandy, everything's going good, what is everybody doing? They marrying, They eating, they drinking, they having a grand old time. What do you think the elders were doing? Remember, the elders of Great Millstone, they were literally having marathon class. The elders was literally on local news channels, yo. They were buying time to get on local news channels, over the airways or the radio. And they were doing this all back in the late 80s, early 90s, and so forth. And then they had another opportunity for the average to use the word, which is the internet, via YouTube and Rumble and everything else. Those men have a good report because of their faith. But those are stories that a lot of people don't know about. But the elders of Great Millstone GMS archives too. You go, they literally school people. You gotta go. Please subscribe to GMS archives too. The Great Millstone Code 1. The elders are literally spoon feeding you, and that's when you hear a lot of those stories about how the elders were trained, how they split burgers and all kinds of stuff. Literally, these men were so they humbled themselves to the master to obtain the knowledge of the understanding. In this society, in this world, you have to give something in order to obtain something. In other words, you have to sacrifice in order to obtain something. In order to sacrifice to obtain the Lord. And they constantly dedicated themselves to it. So let's get back to the Lord. Matthew 24:37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the kingdom of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating, drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage to the day that Noah entered into the ark. So what does it mean by that? Marriage in the Bible is being sex. Man and woman have sex, they're bound forever. But they, as the Lord said, this is an adulterous generation. That's the story. So when it says married, it means that everybody is pretty much really fornicating right now. Everybody just getting drunk, inebriated, they're getting drugged up just to alleviate from the pain of everyday society, everyday stress. That's what's happening. Verse 39. And do not into the flood cave and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Right? Because even though right now you can see the prophecy that are popping up that are going, the Lord still have stuff for a program in mind, still believe that America will go on. You know, it's going to extend its tenure here on earth. 1 Timothy 5:17, let the elders that are moved from the worthy of double honor, that's especially they who labor in the word and doctrine. That's it, the water. They labor in the word, and the elders labor in the doctrine. And that's one thing that these other groups outside of Great Millstone don't do. They don't stick to the doctrine. Why? Because they can compromise. 501c3 charter. They're doing it for free. They're doing it for their money. You know what I'm saying? But the elders of Great Millstone, those men have always spoken about equal TV. I was spoken about America being Babylon. So far, legalized Israel in America. Like America is the way to fight revelation. Third, one third is inch. All right. There's so many things those men have spoken of that have come to pass, and I absolutely agree with you. But at the end of the day, what all do we have? We all have faith. So even though I love the elders, if I follow their doctrine, I still gotta bear my cross. So remember that. You still gotta bear our cross. You still gotta bear your cross. This is Matthew chapter 10.
I'm not to send peace, but a sword. Sword is for war. But remember, the Lord said, um, the word of the Most High, what's that? Hebrews 4:16. The words of the Most High are quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword. So even the tongue in your mouth is a weapon. So you also have spiritual warfare constantly. Remember that, okay? So we also, even when we're speaking, we bring forth warfare because if someone was to speak against us, what's our defense? Our faith. And that's all we have. People can throw out all the lies, the slander, the defamation. But at the end of the day, all you're going to have is your faith. Remember the woman in the book of the Apocrypha, who the two older priests, they were so hot for her that they lied on her and said that she wanted to lay with them, which they tried to grape her. But there was a man in the crowd, the Lord put the spirit over, that said that this woman is innocent. And by her faith, by keeping her dignity and everything, those men were apprehended and those men were judged. Yes, even that woman was also exonerated in that day. We seek to be exonerated as well, no matter what comes our way. Throughout our Hebrews 4:12, exactly what it is. Continuing, Matthew chapter 10, verse 35. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against his mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. And I experienced that. What happened? It sounds better now, the volume up. Oh, I ain't even, hold on, wait, you know what, Salakia? It might be me. I might be muffling on my mic, y'all. I apologize. Thank you for saying something. Let me see. Hope that's a lot better. Water for saying something. Right, so Matthew 10 and 37. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. What is taking your cross? You having a, oh, the water out. We having to bear our cross is pretty much having to go through that same walk that YAHAWASHI had to go through. It's simple, y'all. You know how you grew up in a society. You know, you probably celebrated Valentine's Day, Christmas, birthdays, Halloween, 4th of July. You celebrated everything because 9 times out of 10, your mama, more than likely our mama, taught us these things that was taught to them. Remember, a lot of the traditions that our mothers and grandmothers and grandfathers had, they learned it from who? Whoever their owner was, going back to the slavery. Like if your slave owner was a Protestant, now all of a sudden your grandmother's a Protestant. If there was a Baptist, all of a sudden your grandmother's a Baptist. Evangelist, she's in so forth and so forth and so forth. So we carry on these traditions, which are traditions of men. Oh, that's heavy. Oh, that's heavy. I wasn't even thinking about this precept, but it's just a spirit. They rather drop something. Hey, brother, that man, boy, that's the spirit, boy. That is the spirit. I was thinking about 1 Peter 4, but I ain't know you. I ain't think you gonna pull it out. I ain't think you gonna pull it out. The water. Hold on. Oh, let me read the first verse, and then we'll go back. This is 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 1. For as much then as Mashiach hath suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourself likewise with the same mind. For he that hath suffered in the flesh hath ceased from sin. So that means that we're capable of ceasing from sin as well. Okay? That he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lusts of men, but to the will of God. Now that's heavy. Now remember what I said. What were the lusts of men? Everybody at home seeing Valentine's Day commercials, all the holiday commercials, birthday commercials. Those are the lusts of men. Those are things that we were taught to keep by men. But does Esau teach you don't eat pork? Does Esau teach you keep the new moon Sabbath? Does Esau teach you to keep the Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Day of Atonement? Huh? Does Esau teach you those things? No. So these are new things that are taught to us by who? Heathens. Remember, we are amongst the Gentiles. We are amongst the heathens, y'all. So what are we going to do? We're going to follow their ways. We're going to follow some of their customs and their ways. So let's read this. This is Mark chapter 7, verse 6. He answered and said unto them, well hath Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites as it is written, which people honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. In other words, you're doing a lot of talking, but you ain't walking. You ain't backing up what you're saying, pretty much. You're not living by your words. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Hence Easter. What the hell bunnies and eggs have to do with YAHAWASHI? Oh, I'm sorry. That's dealing with Caesarea Borgia. Understand what I'm saying? That's a custom that they teach us, but that goes back to the Queen of Heaven, Ashtoreth. Even our people was baking cakes into her. Matter of fact, let's get that. Show you, going back to the customs of men. Even the heathens. I don't know why I said like the heathens. So I can. Heathen. I'm having a bit of a laugh here, right? Where is it? Boom, right here. This is Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 17. Therefore pray not thou for this people, neither lift up cry nor pray for them, neither make intercession to me, for I will not hear thee. Why did the Lord say that? Let's see why. Seest thou not what they do in the cities of Judah and the streets of Jerusalem? What they do, Lord? Right, what they do, Lord? Right here. Verse 18, the children gather wood and the fathers kindle the fire and the women knead the dough. So everybody in on it. The children, the men, and the women. Damn, who is going off? To make cakes to the queen of heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods that they may provoke me to anger. So, going back to the traditions of men, like I said, we're behind enemy lines, and we've been forced to forget who we were as a people. So we follow the ways of the king follow the ways of the heathen here. But at the end of the day, we have our own ways. And that says the worship of heaven. Now the deity that got us here, I went to where it says Queen of Heaven. I'm in the blue letter, so y'all can see them. I can't even see that. I'm in a blue letter right now. That word Queen of Heaven. And it goes back to Molech, which is an Ammonite, goddess. Molech, hence the Bohemian Grove. If you haven't heard of the Bohemian Grove, you can do some research on that. They probably try to scrub the internet of it. But the Bohemian Grove over in California is where they would have like this 50-foot owl, and they would sacrifice a lot of children there. And there would be a lot of older Edomite men, rarely women there, of course, because it's a sodomite fest, sausage fest. But yeah, so that owl, that big tall owl, will go back to Molech. All right. So it also goes back to Ashtoreth. All right, the queen, because it says the Queen of Heaven. All right. So right here it says, in the passage Jeremiah 7:8, the Queen of Heaven, to whom the women of Israel and the men and children was in on it too. I just read it. Pay divine honors is either the moon or Astarte. Like I said, Ashtoreth. So hey, remember, I always use the blue letter Bible too. It's a little history that be in there too. You can use worship of heaven. So going back to what I was bringing out, going back to. Because all this goes back to the brother dropping that 1 Peter 4:1. All right. That 1 Peter 4:1 was magnificent. Because these are the customs that they do. Like right now, tonight, you have brothers and sisters. Well, brothers, of course, should be keeping the Passover. Now they have the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We're doing that off of faith. That's a custom. That's one of our customs. So when you go into the book of Acts, the 12th chapter, I think like the 4th verse, you'll see the word Easter in there. But when you actually go into the blue letter, it actually goes back to the word Pasach, which is a Hebrew word for Passover. So it's literally talking about the Passover, but it's just a different verbiage they use. So people see Easter, oh yeah, you're supposed to keep Easter. The bunnies and the eggs and the chocolate. No, that's not what it's about. And technically, Ashtoreth or Astarte is a goddess of fertility, because this is what it is. You give the children Easter baskets full of candy. The children get hyped up on candy. You boil eggs, you color them, you paint them, whatever, and you hide the eggs. So after you hide the egg, you tell the children to go chase and find the eggs. What does the sperm do after the man ejaculates inside of a woman? I'm trying to be politically correct. It searches for the egg. So all the kids are hyped up on egg, and I say eggs. They hyped up on candy, running around chasing eggs like a sperm, right? And then after that, they get all hyped up, and they crash later on. Well, what do the parents do most of the time during the day? They're drinking a little bit, probably smoking a little something. And then after the children crash, what do the parents do later on? They mingle and have sex too, right? Because whatever you think about Easter is mainly for kids, right? And you don't really see adults running around. Now, you got the Gen Z, they do these little parties and Easter parties and stuff. Oh, we're going to get together and grown adults run around and catch eggs. No, it's really for children. So even the ritual itself of Easter goes back to Ashtoreth, which is the goddess of fertility, because the children will be a representation of the sperm, and the eggs that you're hiding will literally be like an ovaries, right? Same thing with Christmas. Christmas goes back to the worshiping of Nimrod. Ancient Babylon, way back, the first Babylon, ancient Nimrod, his mother Semiramis, and his son and her son, which is weird, right? Because he got his mother impregnated, which would be Tammuz, right? Not to get too deep into it, what happens? Okay, the story is a boar slayed Nimrod. Nimrod's blood got on the evergreen tree. Nimrod lived forever through the evergreen tree. So that's why they have the honey baked ham on Christmas, which is wicked. And they have the cranberry sauce that they would have for Thanksgiving, which goes back to his blood. They have the mistletoe, of course. They cut the tree out of the woods, Jeremiah 10. They cut this tree out of the woods and put it in the house, hoping for a good harvest for the next year as well. But that tree that you put inside your house is also a representation of Nimrod. When you go deeper, it's also symbolic to a phallus, which is a penis. But what do you do with those presents? You put those presents down underneath the Christmas tree as an offering. And guess what else you give as an offering to Nimrod? Your children. Okay, what's the first thing the children do when they wake up on Christmas Day? They all go run. They go to the Christmas tree. And before they can even open one present, what do all of the parents say or whatever? Or the siblings or your guardian, whoever you're, whatever the case may be. All right, say cheese, take a picture. So your children are on their knees, worshiping, offering gifts unto Nimrod. That's true. That's really what Christmas is all about. It's a Babylonian ritual. So once again, Mark chapter 7, verse 7. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. So Christmas, you're worshiping the Lord in vain because you're doing it based upon what? The commandments of men. Oh, the brother did drop some. Oh, the brother dropping a lot of them things. Yes, sir. Let me read this one real quick so I can. Acts 19:24, for a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith, which made silver shrines for Diana, the water, another idol that our people used to worship, brought no small gain unto the craftsmen, the water malak. And you know what's so beautiful about that? They remind me of, is that the same? It might have been 2 chapters before that, where they had made a shrine or something. It said to the unknown God, and Paul said, well, I am here to reveal unto you whom that God is. Because our people were worshiping different. Oh man, the water, man, you on point right now. Matter of fact, let's get that. I got something for y'all. I'm gonna go right back to that. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I will not have you ignorant. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away into these dumb idols, even as ye were led. Why would Paul call it an actual heathen Gentile a Gentile? As in past tense, you were a Gentile, even though it's like, and I said, hey, KDC, you were an Israelite last week. I don't know what you know about. You can't change. You're an Israelite regardless. Like Esau would be like, oh no, I'm a Cherokee Indian. No, you a $5 Indian. You stole that land. You still an Edomite. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much what it means. So he said, you know that you were Gentiles carried away into these dumb idols. Now remember, people get the word dumb misconstrued with the word stupid. Dumb means that you can't speak very well. That's really what it means. Do idols speak? See, why you think it said to these dumb idols? Because they can't speak. Man, it's getting pretty deep. Let me see. Where is that? I think it's in Joel 2. Real quick. Give me 1 second. Oh, it's Habakkuk. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 18. Check this out. What profiteth the graven image that the maker thereof have graven it, the molten image, and a teacher of lies? The maker of his work trusteth therein to make dumb idols, like Demetrius was doing to Diana. Woe unto him that saith to the wood, awake, to the dumb stone, arise, it shall teach. Behold, it is laid over with gold and silver, and there is no breath at all in the midst of it. But the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. Exactly. So our people follow after these vain customs, which avail to nothing. Right. I like that. When that Acts 17:24 is a great one for church as well. God that made the world. This is a good one too. God that made Acts 17:24, forgive me. God that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, build not in temples made with hands. And you have to literally build a church, y'all, with your hands. But also going back to the temple that Solomon made, that was for the priest to sacrifice unto the Lord. That's why. Letter Jeremiah 1:4. Now shall you see in Babylon gods of silver, or good one out, and of gold and of wood, borne upon shoulders, which cause the nations to fear. That's heavy because we are we in Babylon today. So technically we can even say over here today. Letter of Jeremiah 1:5. I'll be honest with you, man, I haven't seen these precepts before the water. I'm about to put this in my archive. Beware therefore that ye in no wise be like to strangers, neither be ye in of them when ye see the multitude before them and behind them worshiping them. Is this not in the Apocrypha? Is this actually Jeremiah or just Lamentations? Yeah, letter of Jeremiah. I like them throw out, but yeah, going back. So we follow these customs and everything, going back to what was taught to us by men. But see, this is the kicker. See, when we come preaching another gospel, they got a problem with that. This is St. John chapter 7, verse. We saw that 14. Now about the midst of the feast, Yahawashi went up into the temple and taught. And the Jews marveled, saying, how knoweth this man letters, having never learned? In other words, how does man have all this wisdom? We ain't never seen him in our school of education. See what I'm saying? Same thing with us. They say the same thing with us. Like, what school? Did you go to Cambridge? Huh? Did you? Oh, you didn't go to Cambridge? Oh. Who are you? You're not a scholar. Like, that's how they look at us, huh? But everything that we talking about coming to pass, right? So anyhow, verse 16, John 7:16. Yahushua answered them and said, my doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. If any man will do his will, he shall know of his doctrine. That's heavy. Whether it be of God or whether I speak of my soul. So he said his doctrine not his own, but his that sent him. So in other words, what we're preaching to the people, we're not making this up, y'all. We're not just pulling this out of our you know what. Check this out. It gets heavy. This is 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19. We have also a more sure word of prophecy. Y'all let that sink into your cerebellum. I'm going to read it again. Hey, that hit so hard too. 2 Peter, it's like you kind of boasting, like you said. 2 Peter, remember Peter is David. Those, if you can receive it. 2 Peter 1:19. We have also a more sure word of prophecy. Yeah. Whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place until the day dawn. Ooh, that's heavy. Until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts. That's heavy. We're a light that shineth in a dark place. Remember, no man lighteth a candle and hide it under a bushel. And what it say in Ecclesiastes 81, it says, wisdom maketh the man face to shine. So we're the light in the midst of all this darkness. But see, in order for you to accept the light, you have to admit. It's like when you accept the light, then you have to finally admit that you was in gross darkness, right? So where were you aimlessly going this whole time? Like I said, people walk around with their eyes wide shut. They can see but can't perceive. They can hear but they can't really hear, understand what you're saying. I always use this. Remember when Paul, well, his name was Saul before he got converted. Remember when Saul was on the beast and that light shined and everybody got blinded? Everybody got blinded, but only Saul heard the voice. Remember that. Remember that. 2 Peter 1:20. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any private interpretation. Verse 21. For the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man, but holy men of God, Yahawah, spake as they was moved by the Holy Spirit. So going back to John 7, they were like, who was YAHAWASHI? This man never learning letters. And then YAHAWASHI like, hey, my doctrine that I taught was not of my own, but him that sent me. So what we have is wisdom that cannot be easily obtained. Easily obtained. You can't obtain unless you've been chosen. YAHAWASHI said that. You have not chosen me, I have chosen you, and I have ordained you to bring forth fruits meet for repentance. So going right back, full circle back to the scripture that I opened up with, that brought us all the way to us having a sure word of prophecy. Romans 3:3. For what if some did not believe? It's all, you know what I'm saying? Remember, the Lord said, this world is made for many, but the world to come for few. The Lord saved 8 people during the flood. It's 8 billion people today. Do the math. 1 person was saved per billion. And now let's say the Lord's a little more merciful. I speak as a man when I say that. In Exodus, the 34th chapter, the Lord said he can have mercy upon thousands. Thousands. So even if the Lord was to save 999,999 people, still billions are going to perish. So once again, Romans 3:3. For what if some did not believe? Shall that unbelief make the faith of God without effect? God forbid. Yea, let Yahawah be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, as the holy man was writing down the Lord's word, right? That thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. So at the end of the day, it don't matter if they believe or not, y'all. We should. We need to. Gotta remember, what's a good movie without an antagonist and a protagonist? A hero and a villain. The good, the bad, and the ugly sometimes. That's what makes a good movie. What is the Bible known as? Scriptures. What did Shakespeare say? Shakespeare say that earth is a stage and we're all just acting it, living on it. You know that? We are all spiritual beings living in the material world. We know these things. We know these things, yeah? It seems like it's dragging, but the beautiful thing about it is that you're not being drugged into a house that's being, you're not moving into a house that's on fire. Can you visualize that, people? People that's wanting America to prosper and sees the future here, which I don't know what they're looking at. It's like pulling up with a 26-foot U-Haul, jam-packed like sardines with all your clothes and everything. You cross country moving everything. And the house is literally on fire, up in flames. And you just stand there like the dude from Naked Gun 33.5. There's nothing to see here. Just looking around like, man, this is a beautiful house. And as you're looking at it, the damn roof falling off from debris. That's what people are doing right now. Moving into a burning house. What sense does that make? Right? But anyways, with that being said, I truly pray y'all was edified and fed. Stay in the spirit. Don't fear it. Just endear it. Ask for forgiveness. Pray without ceasing. Stay humble. Remain diligent. MashaAllah. Waflababal. Shalom. But the brother had dropped letter of Jeremiah 1:12. Yet cannot these gods save themselves from rust and moth. Facts. Though they be covered with purple raiment. Facts. And they still worship them all. Oh, I'm dropping them off. We all pawns in this movie. That's right. That's right, brother. We are all pawns in this movie. Hold on. This brother dropping something off. And let me read these last two from here. That's a good one too. Hebrews 4:1. Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left of us enter into his rest, and if you should seem to come short of fast. Read the next one. For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. Ooh, it's a good one. Oh, this is a closeout precept. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. Dang, Boy, I'm glad I scrolled now. That's it right there. That's the banger. Let's see if I say anything else. A ball. That's right. That's right. All right, man. Hey, Shalom, man. A waffle up a ball. Kwame YAHAWAH. Shalom. That's right, man. That Hebrews phone too. What I need to